What's the most shameless thing a neighbor has ever asked you to do? When you own a few rental apartments, you see a lot of strange things over the years, but nothing prepared me for the day I discovered one of my tenants' neighbors had been secretly using my Wi-Fi for half a decade. It started pretty normally. One of my tenants, who I'll call Moose, was moving out after 5 years. He'd been one of the easiest tenants I've ever had. Always paid rent on time, never caused trouble, and even left the apartment spotless on the day he moved out. The only thing left in the unit was the internet modem sitting on the counter. That modem was originally mine. Years ago, a family member had lived in that apartment, and I'd set up the internet account in my name. When Moose moved in back in 2018, we just decided to keep it simple. He'd pay me an extra $50 a month on top of rent, and I'd leave the internet running. It worked fine for both of us. Fast forward to 2023, and Moose was ready to hand over the keys. I went by to do the usual inspection and paperwork. We walked through the place, everything looked perfect, and as we talked, I unplugged the modem, coiled up the cords, and left it neatly on the counter. I figured the next tenant could decide what service they wanted, and I'd return the equipment to the provider. That's when things got strange. Moose's phone buzzed a few times, but he ignored it. Then there was a knock at the door. It wasn't the people scheduled to view the apartment. It was the neighbor, a woman I'll call Veronica. She breezed in with some small talk about Moose moving out, but her eyes went straight to the modem on the counter. After a moment, she asked, almost nervously, if she could plug it back in because she had been using it. At first, I thought she meant she had logged in once or twice in an emergency, but then the truth came out. Back in 2020, during the start of the pandemic, she had internet trouble and asked Moose if she could hop on his Wi-Fi until hers was fixed. She never got hers fixed. In fact, she canceled her own service altogether and had been using my internet connection ever since. For over 5 years, her entire household, her work computer, her phone, even her smart TV, had been running off the account I was paying for. And now that I had unplugged the modem, she was panicking. She offered Moose money on the spot and begged us to plug it back in just for the weekend until she could figure things out. Then, almost jokingly, she looked at me and said, "Don't be cheap." I was stunned. Cheap? I had been unknowingly footing her internet bill for years, and now she was making it sound like I was being unreasonable. Before I could even respond, the buzzer rang again. It was the couple coming to view the apartment. They came upstairs, and wouldn't you know it, Veronica knew the woman. They went to the same Pilates studio. Suddenly, she was pitching the place like a realtor, saying how great it would be if her friend moved in next door. Meanwhile, she was still eyeing the modem. She suggested taking it with her and setting it up in her unit, promising she'd sort things out with the internet company herself. Honestly, that sounded easier than me hauling it back, so I let her. A few minutes later, she texted to say it worked perfectly and thanked me profusely, as if I'd just done her a huge favor. I wasn't about to let it slide completely, though. I called a provider, explained the situation, and canceled the account effective at the end of the billing cycle. Since it was already paid up for the next 2 weeks, Veronica had a small grace period to set up her own account. After that, it would be her responsibility to either transfer the equipment or return it. In the end, it worked out fine for me. The equipment was no longer my problem, and Moose left on good terms, but the audacity still blows my mind. For years, she had been freeloading off an internet connection she knew wasn't hers, and when it was finally cut off, she acted like I was the unreasonable one. The irony of her calling me cheap while I'd unknowingly funded her Wi-Fi for 5 years is something I'll never forget.